Hello there, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be part 2 of my DJI Sendence video. In the description I've put a link for the first one where I go through all of the settings, all of the features and everything as it is. In this video I'm going to be looking at an accessory that's for it. Now I should state DJI this week have opened up orders for the Sendence on its own. So you can now order this directly from the DJI store this week. Shipping time is currently about 20 to 30 days they are stating, but there are some links in the description for this video if you want to use them. But you can now order this controller from DJI, and for a limited time, if you do order it, they are going to include this, which is a patch antenna. Now I didn't mention this in my first video. I'm going to go through it now. So as standard, Sendence comes with the usual antennas that DJI have shipped, the stick type omnidirectional antennas. Now one of the big things that we stated was they were removable, so you can unscrew the boss and remove the antenna and take it off. And the reason for this was twofold really. Number one, it means they're replaceable if you can break them, and number two, it allows you to attach other external antennas, and that other one is this, which is a flat panel patch antenna. Now when I first received this from DJI, I wasn't actually sure 100% what it was, but it is a directional flat panel antenna specifically designed to be used with the Sendence remote controller. Now if we look at it quite closely, you can see you've got the flat face. That is the direction of the antenna pointing forward. You've then got this bracket here, which I'll go on to a little bit more in a minute. And then we have 3 wires that come out of it. You have antenna on the right, antenna on the left, and you have a CAN bus connection as well, which goes into the back of the RC. And then on the box, there's also a CAN input. So although it uses one CAN connection, it does allow input to keep the port available if you need it. Looking at the connections, they are right angled ones. Let me just get in there close for you and you can see it. As I said in my other video, it is it's an unusual connector. It's not fully available off the shelf. It appears to be a custom connection for DJI. It's a bit like TNC to a point, but it is a customized DJI connection. It is metal, it's not plastic, it's really robust. And then you've got the thin coaxial cable which goes down into the base of the panel antenna from there. Looking around the back of it then, all you have on the rear is some screws, and again the thing to note is the screw holes are the back of the antenna, so that is not its directional side. The directional side is pointing forward. Okay, the bracket. Now this antenna screw mounts to the back. So what you have here is an adjustable mount which will move. It's very stiff, but it will move. And then you have 2 holes with 2 threads in the bottom. And this clips onto the back of the remote controller. So if we look on the back of the remote, what you will see is there are 2 holes in the standoff, and that is specifically for mounting the panel antenna. So what you do is you take the panel antenna, pop it on like that, and then you put in 2 screws. 1, 2. And that is the antenna mounted on the rear. The next thing we then do is remove the 2 existing Omnis, and then we will screw on the DJI ones. Now it's worth noting these are keyed, so these will only go on one way, so you can't put it on 360, so that's that side. We'll put the other antenna on then, looking at the correct direction, which is there. And you then, because these are tunable, you can adjust these slightly to be like that, or like that. I prefer them down like that because it keeps it clear of the buttons. And then finally, you take the CAN bus connection, you pop it into the CAN bus port, just like that. And then that is the patch antenna mounted. Now, it is adjustable, so for storage, you can fold it flat and store the controller just like that on the face of the panel antenna. Then in use, you would flip it out like that and then use the RC like that. If the aircraft was directly above you, you can then flip it upwards and fly with it just so it's pointing upwards. But in normal use, you would fly with it at sort of that angle there, and it allows you to get full view of the aircraft. So what are the benefits to the patch antenna over the OmniStick? Well, OmniSticks are omnidirectional, so that means they pick up in all directions. So what you tend to find is these will be good generally, but if you were flying in difficult conditions where you maybe had tree line, or you were flying at a decent range, obviously taking into account the legal ramifications in your area, the patch antenna will give you a much improved signal reception with line of sight. The only downside to the patch is it is directional. So whilst DJI have not publicised figures, it will be far more directional to the aircraft compared to the Omnis. So what you will have to make sure is that you are always pointing the RC towards the aircraft. If you were side on, you could lose the signal. Now, I have been testing this quite a lot over the last month, and whilst it is directional at short range, it isn't night and day on off directional like a switch. You can rotate 90 degrees with the aircraft out, say 100 meters, and still pick up a signal and get good video, although you might start to notice a little bit of blocking. So whilst it is directional, it is certainly not must be exactly at the aircraft. It does seem to have quite a good field of view. Okay, another thing I should mention about the patch antenna is this is only for 2.4 gigahertz. Obviously, the Inspire 2 and the Matrice 200 series both support 2.4 and 5 gigahertz radio bands. The patch antenna is 2.4 gigahertz only. The 5 gigahertz antennas are actually located in the RC in the center here behind the grill. There are two patch antennas for the 5 gigahertz frequency located in here. So whilst you can use the patch, it will only work with the longer range 2.4 gigahertz. Overall, it's a nice fit and it's a nice balance actually on the controller. You know, storage, it makes it a little bit deeper, but it's not terrible. It just folds up nicely underneath. About the only complaint I have with this antenna is the mounting. Having the screwing on is a little bit of a faff. That's about the only thing I can say which is annoying. You can still use it left on with the Omnis if you wanted as well, because you would just flip it there, disconnect, put the Omnis back on, and you could still use it. Now, because of this, what I have done is I have made a quick release 3D bracket for it. Now, this isn't the best design in the world. I knocked this up in about 40 minutes one day and have printed it, and it works really well. And what it allows you to do is mount this to that, and it allows you to fit it via quick release. So what I'm going to do is quickly now put this on and show you how it works. Okay, so I've removed the controller. What we're now left with was just the bracket. So what you do is you take this quick release bracket I have designed, you slide it in like that, and you then mount the two screws through this. Okay, so now I've got the quick release bracket mounted. If I zoom in close there like that, you can see that literally it's just a quick release, and all it does is it's got the two sides for the bracket to go into, and it's got like a ridge along the bottom that it will clip into. So all you literally do is place that on like that, slide it in place, give it a bit of a push. So this is a new printed one, so it is a little bit tighter than 1, 2, and it's clipped in, and then that's the antenna. Again, mounted exactly the same as it was before. Whilst it does stand off a little bit higher with that bracket fitted, it does mean you can quickly release it, because you can then push it up like that, push down on the clip, and then remove it just like that. So what it does mean is if you want to put your Omnis back on, you can do it nice and easily, or you can then just slide the bracket on, give it a push, lock it in place, put the antenna connections on. You can then feed up the CAN bus through the bottom, and then you are on like that. So I'm going to put the link to this in the description for the video. You can print it yourself. I've printed this in ABS. I think it would probably be better in PLA. To be honest, ABS is a little bit brittle in my experience. PLA will allow it to flex a little bit better than ABS does. PETG could be another option. I've got some PETG now, so the only reason I ended up doing this in ABS because I've only got black ABS. I haven't got any black PLA left. I've only got white, so that's the reason I did with it. But really, that's it. That's the patch antenna, which is going to come included with the DJI Syndense remote controller. It is shipping now from the DJI store, so if you'd like to support the channel, there are some links in the description of the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will do another video again soon.